It is another edition of your agricultural biotechnology program, Agribiotech, where the focus is on the significance of biotechnology to agricultural development in Nigeria. I am Lara Afolayo. The Maruca vitrata, also known as the pod borer, is a pan-tropical insect pest of the leguminous cowpea. This lepidopteran pest is a key problem to cowpea cultivation in this part of the world. Today, we shall be looking at the Maruca pest and how devastating it could be to beans farming in this part of the world. Farmers in parts of northern Nigeria shall be sharing their experience with us on Maruca infestation of their cowpea farms. Of course, as we have seen on previous episodes of this program, there is a pod borer-resistant cowpea project at the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. It is an initiative of the African Agricultural Technology Foundation, AATF, in partnership with some private organizations. The chief entomologist of that project, Professor Rabiu Adamu, will be speaking to us on the Maruca vitrata pest and why it so stubbornly attacks cowpea plants, thereby causing farmers to have poor returns on investment. We now begin with some trending agricultural biotechnology stories. Ghanaian scientists have completed field trials on the pest-resistant BT cowpea and will soon apply for commercial release of the country's first genetically modified crop. A plant breeder on the BT cowpea project in Ghana, Gloria Adazebra, says researchers are trying to multiply their BT cowpea seed ahead of the regulator's approval for commercial release. The country's scientists say trial results are currently being reviewed, after which an application for commercialization will be submitted to the National Biosafety Authority. The genetically modified crop is expected to help farmers dramatically reduce their use of pesticides while also enjoying better yields. Currently, the Ghanaian scientists are producing more seeds of the pod borer-resistant cowpea variety to scale up production when the green light is eventually given for commercial release. The Tanzania Agriculture Research Institute, TARI, has joined farmers across the country to push for changes to existing agricultural laws that will allow for the use of genetically modified organism seed varieties. They attribute this to the seed's drought-resistant qualities as well as their ability to resist pests. This follows successful field trials conducted at the Tari Maize Illustration Farm in the country's Makutupora Dodoma region. The country's farmers recently visited the farm and the company offered its board members and were satisfied with the results. They say they are satisfied the seeds can give good maize yields if the government allows its use and production locally. Thirteen nations have used a forum of the World Trade Organization to present a position paper supporting policies that advance agricultural innovation, including genome editing. The United States, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, Colombia, 7 other countries alongside the Economic Community of West African Countries all supported the paper titled The International Statement on Agricultural Applications of Precision Biotechnology. It was presented to the WTO's Committee on the Application of Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures in Geneva. The position paper calls for applying science and risk-based policies to regulating genome editing and other new breeding techniques for agricultural products. It wants due consideration given to available scientific and technical information when updating existing regulatory frameworks or applying the framework to products of precision biotechnology. It also suggests the use of flexibility within existing regulatory frameworks for agricultural products. The statement directly addresses trade concerns governments are engaging in policy discussions on regulatory frameworks and global regulatory compatibility to encourage cross-border research collaboration and minimize potential disruptions to trade. A new project funded by the Research Council of Norway is to focus on improved access to seeds by farmers. This project, known as Access to Seeds, aims to understand and strengthen farmers' access to preferred and well-adapted crop varieties. It will generate research-based knowledge and innovations for seed security, as well as humanitarian and agricultural development in Malawi, Tanzania, and Ethiopia. The project's facilitators say the diversity of crop species and varieties is the biological basis for food systems. They believe that for this diversity to contribute to food security, it must be accessible to farmers. They add that instead of starting from a standpoint of assumptions on what types of seeds are best, the Access project puts farmers' livelihoods and preferences at the center of the analysis. Agriculturists say seeds are vital for food security and are a fundamental asset for majority of rural communities around the world. The infestation of the pod borer maruca pest on cowpea plantations is every beans farmer's nightmare. Agribiotech caught up with some subsistence farmers who share their pathetic experiences with having this pest on their farms, while calling for improved varieties like the BT cowpea, which can effectively control the pod borer.
My name is Mohammed Lahiaba. I'm a farmer. I've been farming for almost 45 years ago. And I've been working on cowpea very much. And I have a lot of customers who knows me. But I've suffered a lot in the hands of Morocco. And up to this moment, most time I have a lot of problems on the local varieties. Some of the improved ones I used to have, I spray less, but that the local varieties, the Morocco attack them. Instead of me to spray less 2-3 times, I used to spray almost 4-5 times. And most especially the 48, IR 48, the variety released by the Institute for Agricultural Research Station. I used to farm it for more than 20 years now, but I suffered a lot. I sprayed almost 10 times before I can get something reasonable for my customers. Customers used to come to visit me to buy from home. I don't take my produce to the market for long, but I've been suffering in the hands of the Morocco, most especially on the local varieties like S. Bonu, Iron Beans, the X. Mina, and Damisira. There are many.
The genetically modified cowpea variety and the conventional one were planted at the same time on this field. The Maruca has destroyed the pod of the conventional variety, but has failed to damage the pod of the BT cowpea. You can see me holding the two of them, and the difference is very clear.
Here is the Morocco that does the damage to the pods of the cowpea. You can see it moving. You see, it starts at the early stage, it will attack the pods and they will fall off, nothing forthcoming. And that's how we have been suffering for long in the hands of this Morocco as it's a problem to cowpea production. Yeah, it's an enemy to cowpea farmers. We experience a lot of losses because of the attack.
Wannan marukan shine yake
This is the Maruca pest. It has severely destroyed our bean crops. It penetrates the pod and damages the beans. You can see me holding the pods it has destroyed. The pest has really caused us sorrow because we harvest very low yields from our beans farms.
The Maruca pest is indeed devastating to beans farming. And still talking about that pest, the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University has an oviposition room where the Maruca larvae is being reared for artificial infestation to augment the natural Maruca infestation pressure on both the conventional and genetically modified cowpea at the Institute's confined field trial site for the BT cowpea. Let's now join Amza, who manages that facility, as he tells us a few things about the Maruca.
We are rearing this Maruca in this lab in order to supply the larva of Maruca to the PBR cowpea trials which we have in IAR farms. The aim of establishing this laboratory is, as I said, to produce larvae which we use to take them to the field and infest in the PBR cowpea trials. This Maruca, they are very, very destructive in the field. If one is not careful, you plant a cowpea that is susceptible to this Maruca. If you didn't spray up to 5 to 6 times, you will not get anything. So there is a project that they brought here in IAR that is testing a variety of cowpea for this Maruca. So we are trying to see if we bombard this variety with Maruca, like 20 to 40 larvae of Maruca. Can the Maruca feed on this cowpea? So that is the essence of this laboratory. And the Maruca, as you can see them, these are the adult Maruca. We keep them inside this cage in order for them to mate. After mating, we just try to select the female of the Maruca and then cap them in a smaller cups. We keep the cup inside here so that they can lay egg. If they lay egg in a day, we come and remove the female and take them back to the cages. We already have our trial established in the field, in which we are going to take the larva to the field and then infest the larva on each plant. We used to infest each plant with at least 40 larvae of this Maruca, so that we will see what the larva will do to the Maruca. In the past 3 years, what we observe is that if we place the larva on the plant, they will not, you see them just crawling, but they will not be able to feed on the transgenic one. But the non-transgenic, the moment you put the larvae, they will just start crawling, entering the flower bud or the flower, and then they will start their action.
As we saw there, the Maruca pest multiplies quickly and needs to be urgently fixed in Nigeria so beans farmers can enjoy bumper harvest. We will take a quick break and the program continues shortly.
Did you know that genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are safe and do not pose any risk, hazard or danger to human, animal and the environment? Neither do they cause cancer, infertility, sterility, tumor or any adversity. There is safe use of GMO drugs like insulin, vaccine, rapid diagnostic test kits for malaria, HIV, hepatitis and so on. The safety of GMOs is certified by the World Health Organization, WHO, Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, the National Academies of Science globally, the Royal Society, UK, and over 110 prize Nobel laureates. GMOs are safe, effective, and certified by MBMA in Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by the Nigeria chapter of the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, OFAB, supported by the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA.
Welcome back. And next, we join Professor Rabiu Adamu of the Crop Protection Department of the Ahmadu Bello University, who is the Chief Entomologist of the Pod Borer-resistant cowpea project at the Institute for Agricultural Research of the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. He will be giving us further insight on what the Maruka pest is and how harmful it is to cowpea cultivation in Nigeria.
Maruka is one of the most important, well, I would say the most important pest of cowpea wherever cowpea is grown, especially in Nigeria. This pest could cause from 80 to 100% yield loss. Maruka is a very versatile pest. It's highly polyphagous insect pest. What I mean by polyphagous is that it can eat wide variety of plant parts and different variety of crops. So it attacks the flowers, the pedicule, the leaves, and the pods. So you can see how economical the pest could be. So it's a very devastating pest on cowpea. It will cause 80 to 100% yield loss. Maruka has reduced cowpea production. Without eating, the production will have been higher than as it is now. But because it is present, you have to devise means to protect cowpea against insect pests. And one of the traditional methods of doing that is application of large number of sprays against the pest using insecticide. This has added to the cost of production. This is why Maruka is very important. Without spraying cowpea, you cannot get any meaningful yield. And one of the key pests of cowpea is the Maruka that cause up to 80 to 100% yield loss. So you need to spray 3 or 4 times to control this pest. There are other pests of cowpea apart from Maruka. So we could define cowpea pests into 2 or 3 categories: the pre-vegetative, vegetative, and the reproductive pests. Maruka attacks from the late vegetative stage, when the flowers are being formed, up to the end of the crop growth stage, up to when the pods are drying. So you will see the scope. It's very wide range of it attacks wide range of plant parts, from the flowers, pedicule, the pods, and the grains. Maruka is all the Lepidopterans. Maruka belongs to the order Lepidoptera and noctuids. That is insects that are very active at night. So what happens is that when an adult Maruka, male and female, mate in the evening, they lay hundreds of eggs under the side of the leaves. The leaf will hatch, the eggs will hatch in 3 to 4 days and attack the reproductive parts, especially the leaves. If there is no flower, they attack the leaves, eat the flowers, the pedicules, and if there is pod, the caterpillars will move and attack the flowers and the pods because they have chewing and biting mouth parts. So this is why Maruka is devastating. It will eat anybody. It doesn't discriminate. Once there is a green leafy vegetable matter, if there is no pods, it will eat the leaves to complete the life cycle. So this is why we have to manage Maruka very well. If you don't manage Maruka, it will depress your yield by more than 80%. If the specific yield is supposed to be 2 to 3 tons per hectare, if you don't spray, you may not get more than 500, half a ton per hectare of the potential varieties. So you need to protect your cowpea against Maruka and other pod-sucking bugs. With coming of this PBR now, what is saying that the cost of production will go down because you will invest less in insecticide and labor to spray insecticide. Maruka has co-evolved with cowpea. That's thousands of years ago. However, some wild relatives of cowpea are relatively non-prepared or immune from Maruka. So the Maruka will not attack those wild cowpeas, but it prefers the modern, improved cowpea varieties. 2. Why is it that Maruka is important to cowpea? Because cowpea, among the cultivated crops, is the most highly phosphorus crop. It means it has high preponderance of insect pests. It's only cotton that can compare to cowpea when it comes to insect pests. So cotton has a large number of pest complex, more than 10 insect pests, which you have to control if you have to get a meaningful yield. Same thing with cowpea. Cowpea has at least 7 key pests. What do you mean by key pests? It's pests that you need to control. If you don't control them, you incur yield losses. Among them is Maruka. Maruka could cause, as I mentioned, up to 80% yield loss. Apart from that, if you escape Maruka, there is pot sucking box complex. Those that suck sap, they have a piercing and sucking mouthful that will come and suck the sap of the developing seed. So the 2 pests have to be controlled, along with thrips and aphids. So there are 4 to 5 key pests that you have to control, especially in the northern part of the country. So that PBR resistance helps to improve our crop yield, because we don't need to spray against cowpea much. So if we are going to do some quantitative economic analysis, but from the preliminary results, it has shown that 1, the level of damage by Maruka has grossly reduced to less than 5%. Right now, there are some trials, some students, some MSc students are doing some work to compare the yield between the PBR and the non-PBR as regards to other insect pests apart from Maruka. So we want to look at the comparative advantage of it over the non-PBR. For the coming of the PBR, we have taken care of from flowering, early folding to full folding. You may not need to worry to spray against Maruka. That is 3 to 4 sprays have been reduced with the coming of this variety. There's some work by IITA in the late 90s and early 2000s trying to get some conventional cowpea varieties from wild sources, which they cross to ensure that those varieties are having some level of resistance. But those varieties have not been successful. They could not protect the crop against the pod borer. So they are not successful with farmers because they don't have a good seed color and seed size, and the resistance is not durable. It has broken down. So we have to restore to this BT using biotechnology to integrate some genes from non-related plant species. Because bacterium is a plant, cowpea is a plant, but we took this bacterium from this gene from bacteria to our crop cowpea. This is why it is very noble. I want to assure Nigerians, for now, all the data, all the dossier that was sent, it indicated that beef cowpea is safe for human consumption. There was some laboratory studies that was done with rats, mice, and other guinea pigs to test the product of BT against it, and no any other serious health implication of medical importance have been recorded up to now. So this is an assurance that yes, we could use it as a source of feed for livestock. We could use it also for human consumption.
That was Professor Rabiu of the Ahmadu Bello University's Crop Protection Department speaking on the Maruka vitrata. We have so far seen how bad the Maruka pest could be for farming on today's edition of the program. Join us same time next week as we bring you details of how the BT cowpea variety could effectively resist this pest. Email us at agribiotech1@yahoo.com, send us tweets at agribiotech13 or post comments on the Facebook page Agribiotech on TBC. I am Lara Folayo. Bye-bye.